Prison survival laws. Law number 1, don't be offensive. Law number 2, embrace respect. Law number 3, shelter vulnerabilities. Prison survival law number 1, don't be offensive. This ancient technique of etiquette has been lost to most modern people of today's gimme gimme, not my fault society. And I'm almost ashamed to say that it, however, exists strongly within most prison systems where respectable behavior is expected and enforced by the convicts themselves. Adoption of this etiquette into your daily manner will help to keep you out of the crosshairs of those who are looking for trouble and those who are moody and uncontrollable. Tips to avoid offending. Manage eye contact. You hear people of the free world command that a real man looks another man in the eye if he is sincere. If he doesn't, he's a coward. Forget that crap when you're dealing with someone who has the outlaw right to blast you in your face for the general purposes of it. Many of the incarcerated take eye contact as a challenge because they stem from abuse or violent backgrounds. It's best to keep eye contact with others under 2 seconds and to end it by calmly looking away. Do not roll your eyes, blow the person off as you look away. Elaborating on that one, because we all know, especially if you grow up, everybody likes to make that strong eye contact, when they're talking to people for 2 reasons. Some people want to try and intimidate you. They feel like they're intimidating you by making eye contact. And then other people want to make sure that you don't feel like you're intimidating them. So they feel like it appears to them like they're not afraid of you. So they maintain this staring dead eye contact with you. Okay. In prison, that can be taken as an insult, as a challenge. Eye contact, I'll give you an example. Inside when you're dealing with these people who are unstable, got mental issues, they're violent, all those things. It's kind of like dealing with a dog or a wild animal. You don't stare a wild animal in the eye. It takes it as a challenge. So my eye contact in prison is more if I'm talking to you like I'm talking to you right now, and I'm telling you this, man, yeah, and I'm telling you, the other day I was walking down the street, man, yeah, I hear you, man, yeah, I know, yeah, the other day, blah, 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 yeah, man, that's horrible, man, I hear you, I can't, man, that's sorry, blah, 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 this and that, da, 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 da. But as you can see, I'm not staring at you, I'm not trying to catch your gaze and have a stare down contest with you to see who breaks eye contact first. And that's what that turns into with a lot of people. And you can see that even in the business world. I pay attention to a lot of people. They just sit there and I'm not going to break eye contact with them. I'm not going to break eye contact. I'm not going to break eye contact first. It's like, man, chill your little ass out before I throw you through the wall. You staring at me means absolutely nothing. But a lot of people are taught that, look them in their eye. They want to intimidate you. Don't believe that crap. This is the real deal on the inside. And somebody will snap you in half for that. So you keep your eye contact. You keep it genuine and keep it sincere. Just go with the flow of what you're feeling. And as you can see, my eyes, they leave a lot. When I'm talking, I was talking to the guy, my blinks are slow. I'm not sitting there looking at him and doing this and making these shifty, I'm not making shifty movements. Everything is smooth. Looking around. It's normal to him for me to be checking around and checking my 6 every now and then. Put my head down, showing him that I'm issuing a issue of trust towards him. Man, that's showing sincerity. He tells me something sad. Damn, man, sorry to hear that, man. That's heavy, bro. You know what I'm saying? My expressions are changing. I'm not sitting here just talking like that. So that's a really important one there right there, because I personally have did go off on people in prison, played that game with me. They come from the streets where their dad told them, just look them in the eye. And they won't be like, motherfucker, what you looking at? And grab by their throat and throw them across the room, when I first went in. And that's what eventually we ended up getting to know each other. That's what they tell me. Yeah, I was always taught to look people in the eye and stare at them so they want to see, man, you're going to get killed in here doing that crap. We know you're challenging us. We're not idiots. And we don't have rules in here where we can't smack the shit out of you. So keep that in mind, okay? Manage smiles. Limit your smiles as they can be offensive to those who are depressed or angry. It's safe to issue small, light smiles for greetings or when responding to the funny act of another. Believe it or not, mean mugging can actually be more acceptable at times than smiling inside prisons. Intimidation and arrogance has its place here. Elaborating on that, managing your smiles. You don't want to look like just sitting around. You're probably not going to feel that way. But I have seen people come in that just, they seem just too happy. And that's what they say, man, what you, excuse my language, you little happy motherfucker, what you happy about? And they set people off because these people are, they're distraught about their lives, and you're over here clowning around and acting like a fool, you're making yourself a target like that. It's okay to have small smiles. When I say that, if we're hanging and we're talking, and I'm and you can see I'm rarely bringing in slight smiles, so I'm not looking like. And just understand, sometimes the mean, mugging, intimidating face helps you out more inside of there than it doesn't. So like I said, you got to feel the room, know who you're dealing with. If I'm in there with a whole bunch of little thugs and gangsters who just came in, just got their colors, and they trying to bully the room, then my expression might be this. But you can see I'm not staring at people. I'm not challenging them, and they're willing to accept that, but they can see by the look on my face that this dude's he looks like he might be about ready to do something, okay? So it's probably best for me not to be in there like this with a bunch of gangbangers and stuff like that, so you gotta feel the room. But small smiles, especially when you run into a lot of the old heads or long timers, who've been there a long time, they appreciate respect, they appreciate a little smile, and they appreciate some jokes. And pretty much almost everybody appreciates jokes in there. If you got a good joke to say, just don't put yourself up on stage. You make yourself shine too much, and somebody gonna come dull your light. Okay. Demonstrate light humor. Speaking of that, a sense of humor can bring you relief and others comfort. It can also be taken as a demonstration of mental strength when you show that you can laugh while enduring lockup conditions. However, do not be the class clown and always read your audience. If you are aggravating someone with your performance, gracefully bow yourself off stage. Too much attention can sometimes turn you from a loving performer into a target. Number 4, never complain. Complaining is viewed as an expression of the weak who can't help themselves or others. Prison and jail are places where only strength is valued. You do not want to become a part of the places in prison where complaining is acceptable. Neither do you want to become a part of the groups of people who accept complainers. Number 5, don't talk about your crime. What you did may offend another, or your crime could connect in a bad way to another. Also, there may be yet to be discovered conditions surrounding your crime that you could still be charged for that your big mouth could reveal. If anyone ever presses you to talk about your crime, you simply respond, "I'm in court, so my lawyer said I can't discuss it." If that person presses you more, the prison and other convicts will settle it for you, as he will cause himself to appear as a snitch or undercover cop who is digging for information. Very bad for him. Number 6, don't ask others about their crime. It could easily be assumed or manufactured that you're a snitch or undercover cop. If you get caught in this web, there most likely is no way out before one of the spiders gets you. So do not ask people about their crime. Do not ask about details of their crime. It's going to make yourself look like a snitch. It's going to make yourself look like you might be an undercover cop fishing for information. There's nothing good that can come out of that. Number 7, never gossip. The integrity of your word will be infected, and eventually someone may respond to your words with a violent act if you become part of this circle. Number 8, don't look in other inmates' cells. There are always law and rule-breaking things happening in the cells of outlaws. Never look into the cells when walking past them. To assure never to be mistaken as being nosy or snitching, keep your head and eyes forward when walking down a cell tier. It's even a good practice to have your head down but eyes up so you can see where you're going and what's coming to you. This way you can always say that you didn't see anything because you had your head down. Number 9, don't converse with the man. Cops, jailers, turnkey, one-time correctional officers, rollers, you can appear as a snitch. Be respectful to them and quick. If you do have to talk to them, try to do it only in the open where other convicts can see and hear what's being said. Don't ever whisper to the man. Do not trade challenging eye contact with them either. Stay off of the man's radar as much as possible. Number 10, no flagellants around other inmates, especially if you are confined in a closed cell together. This can be considered as a direct assault by outlaw law. 11, top table manners, even when you're eating in a prison or jail chow hall. Don't pass gas, burp, make a mess, or be obnoxious. Keep your hands near your plate and away from everyone else's. Number 12, do not tell your release date to anyone. Someone may do all that they can to lure you into trouble so you can lose your release date. Even a friend may get jealous that you're about to get out and frame you so you can remain in prison with them. Number 13, never talk about another inmate to a guard, no matter what. Even if a guard asks if you have seen another inmate, it is best to just say, sorry, I legally can't be involved per my attorney. If any other convict ever were to see you mentioning another convict's name to a guard or pointing someone out, there goes your reputation and safety fast as you can say, oh fuck. 14, don't Joan, cap, or razz. When growing up, my uncles used to rough me up and call me a little punk for fun, to toughen me up. Therefore, this made me view being called a little punk almost as a compliment until the day I called a fellow inmate who I was having fun with a little punk. And he informed me that calling someone a punk could get my guts cut out. I shockingly asked him why, and luckily he was nice enough to explain that where he came from, calling someone a punk was calling them a homosexual, which is a grave insult to a non-homosexual convict. You will meet many people from many different places, and the words that we use will have different meanings. Beware the slang of your culture. Number 15, do not use politically correct racial titles. I can recall a moment when I was in solitary confinement speaking to an AIM, American Indian Movement member, and I called him Native American. He replied, do I look like a fucking pale-skinned American to you? Then I replied, my bad, Indian. To which he replied, do you see me out in the sand with a fucking red dot in the middle of my head? So I asked, then what the fuck do you want me to call you, asshole? And he replied, I'm a fucking savage. To him, being called civilized was an insult that separated him from his nation. Savage meant he was one who honored his ancestors and didn't betray his heritage. Of course, I had fun with this one, and I told him, well, in that case, don't be calling me no Afro-American, Negro, Black, or African-American, because I'm a nigga. Understand, there are fun times on the inside with wit and humor because there is a lot of it if you know how to bring it out in each other. And that's, elaborate on that chapter. That last one paragraph was a very good lesson for me. It taught me about perception and how when you go in here, if you end up going into prison, you're going to meet different people from different backgrounds, different experiences. Everything that you think you know there's another side to it, and probably 10 different sides. So be open-minded. Don't be judgmental. Be calm. Listen to people. And the more you learn, the better you'll be able to get along because you'll run to somebody like them, and you'll already have the heads up and the head start on what they think, what they like to be called, how they behave, and so that'll help you to cruise through easier because you communicate better with people. But communication starts with listening and learning. Always remember that. That's going to be important inside there.